The Pope is dead, so it's time for a reading vlog. Let's get to it. There's any background buzzing, but that is the computer. I don't know how to fix it. Sorry, I wish I did. I'm gonna go ahead and comment on Francis. I've never been Catholic, but I have always said that if I did grow up Catholic, I probably never would have lost my faith, because as far as I know, Catholics put church tradition before the Bible. And it was actually reading the Bible all the way through that made me lose my faith, because it was just so ridiculous. And it wasn't even the immorality, it was just like the book of Ezekiel, eating scrolls, having God shove a scroll down your throat in that 1,000-eyeballed angels, and there's just no way it happened. There's no way. So, Francis, rest in peace, boy. But I've heard he was a good pope. He was great with the poor. He was very humble. As far as I know, I'm not sure if he really tried to solve the problem of poverty. Had he done that, I would have been very happy. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But if you want to just Mother Teresa it, go around, hug poor people, that's not helping. That's not solving the problem. So that's kind of just taking the moral high ground, which is not something I'm fond of. But I'm gonna say something here that might get me hate, and I really think the reason Francis was so likable and what people call the people's pope, and just someone who made the Catholic Church look good, was because he was from Argentina. The fact that he was Latin American, I think, is one of the reasons he didn't come off as haughty. He didn't come off as, I'm better than you. He was one of the people, and I think that has to do with the culture he came from. Because in South America and Central America, they're all very humble people, they're very hardworking, and they're very inclusive. So that's just part of their culture. And, yeah, sorry to get into it. So, well, I'm not sorry. I feel like I said good things, and, basically just said the truth right there. So, yeah. So, when I taught in the inner city, 80% of my students were Hispanic. Most of them were Mexican. A lot of them were Salvadorian and Ecuadorian, fleeing the Latin American gangs. So it was really rough to see what they had gone through in order to get to America. A lot of them have family members who are, like, on the hit list, and they're worried their dad's gonna get executed by MS-13. So it's something I'm really passionate about. I'm gonna start reading Conclave, so let's lift the veil on the secret ceremony, so to speak. So I read to the first, like, break-ish. I'm kind of in a bad mood right now because I got a return request on eBay on a product that was totally perfect, and the buyer's claiming there's something wrong with it. The pictures he sent in as evidence still looks perfect, so I'm a little mad. But, this is very manly, and of course it's reminding me of the Da Vinci Code, but the Pope is dead. Our main character is a 75-year-old cardinal, and, I guess he wants to be Pope now, even though he's in a, crisis of faith, as they all are.
18,500 of that crowd were behind them inside Paul Arena here at Denver. It's a much...
Update. It's been a couple days since I loaded, or, I don't know, recorded. I'm very tired right now, just FYI. So the papal delegates, I guess, the nominees, the cardinals at the, I'm not Catholic, at the conclave have arrived, and Lomeli, our Italian, just kidding, Italian cardinal, is like sizing them all up. And I find it interesting how he's not like talking about their merits from like a godly point of view. This seems very, very secular and not so much a religious book. It's more of a political thriller. And it's really, really skinny. very easy to read, but I've been so tired because I've been working with children with autism for the first time in a really long time, working with little kids, and I do actually love it. But the patients are very young, so I'm pretty taxed by the end of the day. But I'm going to continue reading Conclave, and let's see who Lomeli feels is deserving of being the Holy Father. I got my ass kicked by a 5-year-old today. Let's look at the damage. So, yeah, there's that. And then, I don't know if you can see if I go all the way around. You see, yeah, there they are. Look at those scratch marks. He kicked my ass.
A great joy.
HABEMUS PAPUM.
We have a pope.
Eminentissimum.
The most eminent
Ac reverendissimum
and a
Dominum.
reverend.
Dominum Robertum Franciscum.
Robert
Sancte Romane
Francis,
Ecclesiae.
Cardinal of the Holy
Cardinale
Roman
The first
Andreas.
American Pope has been elected.
Habeas Papum. How do you like that with my Texas accent? So, we have a new pope. He's American, from Chicago. And to be quite honest, this means almost nothing to me. I know very little about the Pope and what he really does. One of the reasons I'm reading Conclave. So yeah.
Chair lays out Senate Bill 10 by Senator King related to the display of the 10 Commandments in public school classrooms. The chair recognizes Representative Noble to explain the bill.
They most talk about the way we must treat others as a society. The way we treat others as a society comes from the principles found in the 10 Commandments.
So our objective is a religious objective.
Our objective is an educational and judicial objective.
26% of the people in Texas are not religious.
I would concur with that, but that doesn't mean that they would not be better by learning about our forefathers and what was important to them.
Things that were important to our forefathers, huh, Representative? Like separation of church and state?
Question. Is there a separation of church and state in this country?
That's an interesting question that has been debated a great deal. But what I'm going to say to you is I'm going to quote some of our earliest forefathers.
As I was editing this, I noticed that this woman had to scramble to find the quote for these words. Words that we memorize when we are very, very small children.
You think that our forefathers, when they wrote these words, were thinking about a separation.
We hold these
Truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Government was not made for man. It was made by God.
So I'm in a town called Carrollsburg, up in far north Texas, and I'm gonna look through this cemetery. Looks pretty well kept. It's not like an old overgrown cemetery like I like to go see. These graves look a little old, so I think this is the older part. Does this? Okay, yeah, it's on the other side and incredibly hard to read. But it looks like the death date is 1904. So while I'm out here, 1892, wow. So while I am out here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about, not Castle, what's it called? I want to say Canterbury. Oh, it's a baby. September 19th to December 1902. Conclave. So, a little more than halfway done with it. It is taking me a while. Infant daughter
Oh my goodness, it's just a bunch of babies. So Conclave is getting pretty interesting. I've gotten to the point of kind of the midpoint, and he gave his homily before the first vote. I'm on the second vote, and his numbers are going up, which is concerning to him because he does not want to be Pope. But he gave his homily. Our darling, so sad. He gave his little homily, and he's talking about how doubt is good, which I agree with. He says doubt is good because without doubt there'd be no need for faith. I think doubt is good because without doubt we would not go searching for answers. If we were so content and we didn't doubt things, why would we even want answers? So things, the fallacy, the God of the gaps. Oh, are these babies right here? Died 1905. Look at these cheap. Interesting. Alfie Barton, maybe, is that what that says? So without curiosity, which I would say is kind of on the same spoke as doubt, we wouldn't learn. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of the God of the gaps fallacy. Anything we don't know, we just explain to God. That's probably why it took us a long time to come out of the Dark Ages, or the Middle Ages, because, 1991, close to when I was born, because, Christianity, the Inquisition, and while I think Christianity is one of the more moral religions out there, it has the tenet that knowledge is a sin, which is awful.
Well, for the first time in this book, at about 57% of the way in, something fairly exciting happened. A nun screamed when she saw the frontrunner for Pope and ran away and does not want to talk about it. My guess, SA. Moving party, Mama, say hi. You're not on camera, say hi. Mom? We're reading about Italy, ain't we? Sorry about the foot. Hello. So, moving party is kind of over, kind of not really. I'm at my parents' house reading Conclave because my father's having some medical work done and I might have to pick up my brother. But we left off with some SA. Yes, there is assault in the clergy is this. And I'm actually feeling very refreshed. And a lot of people know that I was abused as a child. The kind of abuse that happens in this, that they uncover, is pretty similar to what happened to me. And obviously I am not a little boy, and I was never Catholic. So I was never diddled by a creepy old priest. And it's really good to see this showing abuse happens to anyone from anywhere. And I'm learning a lot about Catholicism, and I'm about 65% of the way done. This is really thrilling. For what I'm seeing now, get your hands on it. Few updates. It's getting real. We have discovered that some priests are guilty of simony, which is basically buying votes for Pope, and I'm pretty sure that probably happens in real life because that's just politics, and the whole Christian nationalist thing going on in the US was pretty much bought out by rich religious people. So why would the Pope be any different? So taking the moral high ground is something the Catholic Church is very good at doing, but in this book there was a jihadist terrorist attack, and I'm gonna read you a little bit from this book, a little back and forth that went on where I think the Catholic Church was correct in taking the moral high ground. It is a disgrace. Imagine the blood of the innocents in the Piazza del something or the Church of San Marco this morning. Do you think we are not ourselves in some part responsible? We tolerate Islam in our land, but they revile us in theirs. We nourish them in our homelands, but they exterminate us in theirs. Look into the Coptics. By the tens of thousands, and yea, by the hundreds of thousands. It is the unspoken genocide of our time. And now they are literally at our walls, and we do nothing. How long will we persist in our weakness? And then a character who had been the Archbishop as Bad Dag chimes in and says, we should not answer violence with violence. This is making the Catholic Church look pretty good in my eyes. Excuse the wet hair, got out of the bath a little bit ago. Curly hair takes forever to dry, so I finished Conclave, and this book is full of twists and turns and 180s, 360s, 720s, 900s, 1080s, whatever. But there's one final twist at the end that was ridiculous. Like, I mean, probably within the last 5 pages, we get a twist, and I thought it was laughable. It was just so stupid. Like, there was no reason other than to send a, like, social political message from the author. Maybe it translated better on film, because I know this was nominated for a ton of Oscars, but the ending is gonna knock this down from 4.5 stars to just a solid 3 stars, because it was just so dumb. But yeah, 3 stars because of the terrible ending. And thanks for watching. See you next time. Hopefully I will get a new video out soon, but I am in the middle of the move, so see ya.